Growing up, Naruto was, or honestly still is, one of the biggest and most influential anime in the world, and for a lot of people my age, younger, or honestly even older, it was their first introduction to the world of anime. So a lot of people, including myself, have a very soft spot in their heart for Naruto. But one thing that I could never really get over with Naruto was the time skip between the OG series and Shippuden, or Shippuden, however you pronounce it. So to myself and a lot of people, from what I've seen online, while it was cool to see Naruto physically grow, it genuinely felt like the time skip had nothing to offer combat wise. Like, it felt pointless. And one thing that I felt the series successor Boruto did in the manga, to be specific, in the manga, we're going to be specific about that, was actually make the time skip feel important and relevant. And today I want to talk about the major differences between the two series when it came to the time skip. So with that out the way, with the preface out the way, let's get into it. And as usual, I want to thank you guys so much for the support that you've been giving the channel. I really love it. I really appreciate it. And, just subscribe, comment what you think I could do better, and leave a like. But let's get into the video. So of course, we're going to kick it off with the original, the one who started it all, Naruto. And before the time skip, we are left off where Sasuke had just defeated Naruto after defecting from the village to go to Orochimaru to have him pump him filled with his fluids and drugs. I mean, train him. And by this point, Naruto, all he could really do is make a large number of clones, which honestly is impressive if you think about it, how they talk about it in the show. But his only real jutsu was still just the Rasengan, and he doesn't even know his own nature affinity. I don't even think Naruto at this point had the concept of what nature affinity really is. So this defeat led Naruto to decide it's time to go get stronger, right? He left the village to go train with Jiraiya. And now, throughout Shippuden, we do get a little bit of glimpses into what occurred during this time skip. We learned that Jiraiya's main goal during this training was to teach Naruto better chakra control, but also mastery over the Nine Tails chakra. And I will give him one of these. He did help Naruto to achieve better chakra control, but the Nine Tails chakra was still out of his control, and it wouldn't be in his control for a very long time after this. And by the time the 3-year time skip had gone by, all Naruto really came back to the village with was a slightly bigger Rasengan, which does show his improvement in chakra control, because the Rasengan is literally just amazing chakra control. It's just making your chakra into a perfect sphere. But hell, Sakura came back from her time skip with a much more significant change to her kit. And this is a topic I have talked about. I've made a video about, link below, check it out. It's a great video. But it is crazy if you think about it and compare him to Boruto. Now, I do want to say this. I want to preface this that there will be spoilers for Boruto Two Blue Vortex if you haven't read it. And I'll admit that Boruto is regarded as a genius much more akin to Sasuke than Naruto, but I don't want this to be used as a reason to discredit my argument because of all the things we've seen Naruto achieve throughout his time in the series, whether it was the OG series or Shippuden, which I will get into later. So, before Boruto's time skip, we see Boruto swap lives with Kawaki, and by this point, Boruto is aware of his 3 chakra natures and has a jutsu for each of them. Multiple jutsu for each of them, actually. So he's definitely living up to the genius title by this point, and Boruto goes into his time skip, in my opinion, ahead of Naruto, at least until Naruto achieves sage mode. I'd say pre-time skip Boruto by the end, even minus Momoshiki, definitely take Momoshiki out there, is stronger than post-time skip Naruto when he comes back from the time skip, like right in the beginning of Shippuden, right up until Naruto achieves sage mode, right? And by the time we get to Two Blue Vortex, we get a glimpse into what Boruto was doing during his 3-year time skip. And by the end of this first year of the time skip, Boruto had mastered every single technique Sasuke had to teach him, which is crazy to think about. Now, this isn't to say that he was at the same strength as Sasuke, right? But think about it. Sasuke mastered most of his techniques by the age of, let's say, 16 to 19, somewhere there, and he had an additional decade and some change to add more to his arsenal. Now, I want to point out that Sasuke didn't teach Boruto all his techniques because Boruto isn't going around busting out heavenly hand power, at least not yet, probably. You know what I mean? You genuinely never know. So anything that was compatible with Boruto, he taught Boruto. But this wasn't the only person Boruto trained with. After Sasuke was turned into a divine tree, RIP, Boruto begins training with Kachin Koji, who has future sight, and begins teaching Boruto all the future jutsus he would master, which was just insane and absolutely bolstered his arsenal. Now look, I know we've been talking about Boruto a lot, but that's just because he did that much during his time skip. So let's have a little rundown of all the jutsus we're aware that he learned. We're gonna start off with one of my favorite jutsus in the whole universe, the Flying Raijin Jutsu, or the Flying Thunder God Jutsu, which is a staple of his grandfather and my favorite character, the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. And next, he learned Sasuke's Uchiha style Kenjutsu, which usually involves infusing a katana with lightning chakra nature, right? Then we have Purple Lightning, which was, I guess, his substitute for Chidori, because we know, the tunnel vision with Chidori and the tunnel vision that Chidori gives you, and Boruto doesn't have a Byakugan or a Sharingan. He does have the, what's that eye called? The blank eye, the void eye, the white eye. I can't really remember. And mainly due to its application and having the same benefits of the Chidori without the drawbacks, and not only having the piercing ability, but also more explosive power. We see this from Kakashi. And he can also fly, which is crazy, but this is mainly due to being an Otsutsuki, but still. And also, how could I forget about the obligatory Rasengan, his most powerful technique, the Rasengan Uzuhiko, a jutsu that uses the chakra of the earth as long as your feet are in contact with it. And we've seen that the longer you stand, the more powerful it gets. So it probably has no ceiling, if we're being honest. And as if that wasn't enough, if that doesn't kill you, right? It has a status effect. It's like we're doing Pokemon in the Naruto world. I know Naruto has status effects, but it triggers vertigo that messes up your sense of equilibrium and motor skills that can only be lifted if the user or if the planet itself stops spinning. All this to say, Boruto didn't waste time, any time during his time skip. But we're gonna get back to Naruto, and Mr. I came back from my time skip with a slightly bigger Rasengan. Damn, that pisses me off. So the thing that pisses me off the most about the Naruto time skip is that Naruto, even without the Nine Tails chakra, had the ability to come back from his time skip with a major difference in strength. I mean, the guy learned the Rasengan in a week and added a chakra nature, something he hadn't even used once up until that point, in 4 days. In 4 days. Minato spent 3 years and Jiraiya spent decades. Kakashi spent decades trying to add his chakra nature to the Rasengan, and it never worked. And Naruto did it in 4 days. Naruto Uzumaki added his wind chakra nature to the Rasengan in 4 days. Now, sure, the clones helped, and if you account for time dilation, it technically took him 6 years, but Boruto gets to see the future, right? I'm not going to use that against Naruto. Boruto literally has future sight, all right? We're not going to take that. So Naruto then went on to learn Sage Mode in less than a week. In less than a week, Naruto learned something that Jiraiya himself couldn't even perfect. Think about that. Something that Jiraiya or Orochimaru, two of the most talented and hardworking ninjas in the verse, couldn't achieve. Not to mention all the Rasengans he was infusing with different Rasen Shurikens, my fault. He was infusing with different chakra natures by the time the war arc came around, right? So now I want to get into my closing arguments, and that is the fact that Naruto could have learned literally everything he did during Shippuden up until Sage Mode during the time skip. I mean, Jiraiya had access to multitudes of nature releases, including wind. So even if he himself couldn't apply it to the Rasengan, he could have made Naruto aware of his own release at the very least, right? Taught him some jutsu that involved it. Like Boruto has what, wind style Gale Palm or something? You couldn't have taught Naruto like some, I don't know, some wind version of the fireball jutsu or something. I don't know. What's that thing that Danzo has, man? Teach him that. And I'm sure that Jiraiya at some point would have thought about the Shadow Clone workaround eventually. At the very least, he could have took Naruto to Mount Byaboku to learn Sage Mode, right? Imagine during the first major fight in Naruto Shippuden, Naruto busts out a new transformation when things get serious. Imagine instead of when he was fighting that Itachi clone, he busted out instead of a bigger Rasengan, it was, oh bro, yeah, let me lock in real quick, Sage Mode. My clone has been gathering nature energy this whole time, so now I'm more powerful and I have Frog Kumite and all that kind of stuff. Hell, he probably could have beaten Sasuke on their first interaction if he had it, bro. If he had that. Now compare this to Boruto, who came back from his time skip and has been doing nothing but dominating since he's been back in his story. I also think this could have helped to make Naruto and Kuruma's relationship a bit more interesting. Imagine if we began to see the signs of Kuruma being jealous that Naruto was using Sage Jutsu instead of depending on him over the course of the story. Instead of basically at the final arc is really where that honestly took fruition. And it would have introduced a more interesting dynamic between the two of them. And while I do think Naruto and Kuruma's relationship is a good addition to Naruto, just as a whole, I would have loved to see it more developed over the course of Shippuden. Instead of Naruto getting transformation after transformation during the war arc in the span of essentially a day, because the war arc takes place over the course of, I think, 3 days, and he goes from KCM 1, KCM 2, KCM with Sage Mode, and then 6 Path Sage Mode. That's 4 different transformations. And now I know that KCM 2 and KCM Sage Mode technically visually aren't that different, but it does make a big difference if you really think about it, what it does. And I don't know, I just feel like Naruto could have been handled better in terms of his own time skip, and I'm really happy that Boruto is correcting that, right? From the beginning, I started reading the Boruto time skip and seeing how, honestly, just how much aura, right? I'm gonna put it out there, bro. I'm not usually one of them aura dudes, but seeing how much aura Boruto came back from his time skip with, it was great. And I would have loved that for Naruto, right? He could have still been that same goofy kid, but you know, we've seen that when Naruto locks in, he locks in, and just giving him more to his arsenal earlier on would have been great. And instead of having Sage Mode come in during the Pain arc, right? Which, cool, I like it. I love Sage Mode. Sage Mode's a really dope transformation. It's one of my favorite transformations in all of anime. But imagine if Naruto had popped out with KCM 1, right? Instead of going to Mount Myoboku to train to get Sage Mode, what if he went to that waterfall place, right? Maybe they could have done something else where he went and trained with Killer Bee earlier, because we know that the entire thing in Shippuden is that Naruto needs to get stronger because the Akatsuki are hunting him. Imagine if he goes and trains with Killer Bee earlier, right? And then he pulls out the thing from Kuruma, the chakra from Kuruma. Let me be specific. He pulls out Kuruma's chakra. Now he comes back, he's dominating Pain, right? Give that some time to breathe, because I really love that transformation. That's my favorite. Besides 6 Path Sage Mode, that is my favorite Naruto transformation. Just KCM 1, right? Where he's just covered in the chakra cloak, right? And then fast forward, we get to Obito, right? When Obito pops up, he's starting the war, right? Naruto now has to go train again, and him and Kuruma have to work on their relationship, right? He has to be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how they handle it. I'm not a writer. Kishimoto can do that. Kishimoto's a better writer than me. That's why he wrote Naruto, and I didn't. I'm just making my own opinions. And have him show up in, you know, KCM 2. All right. And from this point on, you honestly can have the transformations happen how they happen, because Naruto's still going to need Sage Mode to damage Ten Tails Obito. Oh my god, still damage Ten Tails Obito and Ten Tails Madara, then have your Ten Tails Madara come in, and then also, actually no, Sage of 6 Paths, I don't know how long he was hinted throughout the story. I don't remember off the top of my head, but you know, have that be introduced way earlier, right? You could fix the reincarnation cycle stuff with this, right? Give the story more room to breathe, instead of during that war arc, they kind of just compressed everything together. And that is how I would fix it, in my opinion. I feel like that would have worked better. Now, Boruto is still ongoing. It's still going monthly, and I am enjoying it, so I don't know how the story's gonna end. And, you know, honestly, nobody does, but I do love the way that they handled the time skip, right? Anyways, that is the video, and as always, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you again so much for the support I've been getting so far. Please consider subscribing if you've made it this far in the video. Leave a like and comment what you guys think I could do better. I'm genuinely grateful for you guys, for those of you who have subscribed in the past month, bro. Honestly, I think we're at 752 subscribers right now, which we're gonna hit 1,000 by the end of the year for sure. Anyways, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.